Kia ora, good evening. Police are investigating two suspicious fires in Invercargill at the weekend. Two fires were deliberately lit at different addresses in South Invercargill just after 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. The incidents follow two suspicious fires at Invercargill schools in recent weeks. I spoke to Detective Senior Sergeant Mike Bowman.
So we had a report about 7 o'clock on Saturday morning from a member of the public about a fire at an empty dwelling near the corner of Beaumont and Milford Road, and fire services attended to that, and it appeared to have been lit at the back of the property.
There was also another fire?
Yeah, there was. About 4 o'clock that same morning in the same area around Ness Street, a couch that was on a veranda was removed out onto the street and set alight.
Now, these are both believed to be suspicious fires?
Yes, they are. Obviously, the house that was set alight was unoccupied. It was empty and had been for some time, and the couch had clearly been moved out into the street, so they've both been deliberately lit.
Do you think they're connected?
Oh, we can't rule it out. We certainly can't rule it out, but we're keeping an open mind. But given the fact that it's in close proximity and same day, you have to say that there possibly is.
How much potential was there for this to be worse? Well,
when you're talking about a dwelling, the fire service are arriving at that, not knowing whether there's anyone inside, and you're putting their lives at risk as well when they have to go inside the building to check to see if there's anyone there. So, there's always potential for injury to members of the public or who come across the fires.
How concerned are you about them?
Oh, we're always concerned about fires being lit because you just don't know where it's going to escalate to. So, as we've seen with other fires over recent weeks, we want to get on top of it as quick as we can.
Now, there were two fires in recent weeks at Invercargill schools as well. Do you think these are connected as well?
Again, we can't rule it out. The same weekend and two schools. It could be that someone, copycats, have heard about the fire on the Friday night and done it again on the Saturday. So, but again, we're keeping an open mind.
Could we have a serial arsonist on our hands?
I don't believe so. I think there's not the same similarities between the two fires and how they've been lit, but again, you can't rule it out. But we certainly want to get on top of it as quick as we can.
Now, are you looking for the public's help in this?
Yeah, we always are. We need the public's help if they've seen anybody acting suspicious around that time, or if anybody's talking about having committed the fire or known about somebody who's committed the fire. As we've seen in that fire at James Hargis last year, there's the public that came forward and helped us solve that, and as a result we had two good arrests in that. So we're looking for that same public support.
Now, you are wanting some members of the public to be more vigilant than others.
Yes, we are. We would really like for members of the public who are near schools or empty dwellings, empty houses, just to keep a bit more vigilant about suspicious behaviour or suspicious noises around that area, and to ring us straight away. We'd send a note at that time and go and make some inquiries to see if there's anything suspicious happening.
Milford Road remains closed with weather hampering efforts to reduce rockfalls in the area. The road was closed on May 23rd due to unstable rock posing a safety risk to road users. Work to remove the 2,000-tonne section of unstable rock above the entrance of the Homer Tunnel has been hampered by poor weather. However, the New Zealand Transport Agency says some long-awaited fine weather saw a start made on work last week. Drought conditions have resulted in a $1.3 billion decline in primary sector export revenues for the year to June, but primary industries are performing well in the face of significant challenges, according to the Ministry for Primary Industries. That's according to the Ministry's annual Situation and Outlook report for primary industries, which says medium-term outlook is very positive. The report says the impacts of the severe drought continue and could continue for several seasons, with many sheep and beef farms needing to build stock numbers back up. According to the report, MPI expects primary sector revenues will rise 2.2% in the year to June 2014 and to grow 7.4% by 2016 to 17. The outlook is based on maximising opportunities in Asian markets, recovery from the global recession and an assumption of a slightly lower New Zealand dollar. 35 years ago, Southland farmers released more than 1,300 sheep on Invercargill's main street and later slaughtered them at a section on Victoria Avenue. That protest action, known as Bloody Friday, was remembered on Saturday with around 200 people attending a reunion at the Invercargill Workingmen's Club. The reunion included video footage of the protest, speakers and memorabilia. One of the protest leaders, Sid Slee, says the action was born of frustration at the numbers of sheep starving to death due to industrial chaos in the meat industry sector, with 116 stoppages at the region's 4 meatworks in the first 5 months of 1978. And stay with us after the break, why Southland meat workers are being offered training for the dairy industry. Welcome back. Electronic spending rose close to 6% nationally last month, according to figures released today. EFTPOS provider Paymark says spending through its network in April was up 5.9% nationally compared with 2012. However, in Southland, spending was up only around half the national figure, with growth of 2.9% on a year ago. According to Paymark, an average of the first 4 months of the year shows growth is up on 2012. The higher national growth rate is particularly due to Canterbury recovery, while Southland has seen spending growth slip. Paymark processes around 75% of electronic transactions. A new initiative to try and extend employment for meat workers in the region is underway, with Southland meat workers being offered free dairy industry training to assist them in getting work on dairy farms in their off-season. The initiative is the brainchild of the Southland Meat Workers Union, and Margot Sutherland spoke to General Secretary Gary Davis about the idea.
Well, we've got about 2,000 or 3,000 meat workers in mainly the Southland area that only work about 6 months of the year, and ideally a lot of them want to work in the off-season. And there's always been a problem in a lot of people getting jobs, so we thought that if we could give them some basic training in the largest probably industry outside the sheep and lamb, the dairy industry, that we're hopeful that some of the dairy farmers will pick these people up during the season. They're used to working hard, long hours, and a lot of them are very good workers.
So who's going to fund this training that these chaps might undertake?
Yeah, well, WINS has come up with the funding and they've employed Tectra, who does a lot of training for the dairy industry and the shearing industry. So they're running the courses over the next month, and it was something we organised with them, and WINS were good enough to come on board and support it.
How many are you hoping to get on board to go through this with you?
We've got about 50 people that have put their names down. Some of the guys are still at work, obviously. Lawnville probably won't finish until early next month. So we've got about 15 or 20 there today. There's about another 25 that are booked in for next week. So, after that, we're hopeful that most of those people can get placements on the farms in the off-season.
So once they are trained, how much work do you expect that they might get on the farm?
Well, we're hopeful they'll get 3 or 4 months at the least, and obviously some of our people may end up staying in the dairy industry full time if they find a good farmer and they enjoy the work. So we've taken that into account, but it's difficult for our members to make a living out of a seasonal industry at the moment. So ideally, if we can get them into 2 seasonal jobs in 1 year, that's a good win-win for all.
This is an initiative from the union, Meat Workers Union itself?
Yes, it is. It's something that we've tried to get people into training through SIT about 4 or 5 years ago. There were a few people that were put in some sheep farms about 4 years ago, about 20 odd. I think the Alliance organised that. And then it just all fell away, and Agriculture New Zealand, I think, was supposed to do some training in that, but that didn't seem to go anywhere, and we had no contact with anybody for about 3 years. So Tectra were running some courses for long-term unemployed people, so I approached them, and this is where it's come from. There's been a big change in the landscape to dairying, and obviously that's where the work is in the dairy industry, and our people they're not working for 6 months sometimes, and a lot of them are desperate for work, and it would ease the burden on dairy farmers having to bring in people from overseas to do the work, and keep the money in the community and spend it there.
Invercargill's first winter festival was held at the weekend, drawing hundreds of people. The first annual Fire and Light Midwinter Festival was held on Friday night at Eastside Baptist Church. The event was designed to appeal to the whole family, and entertainment included local singers and glow-in-the-dark face painting. More than 600 people were at the event, exceeding expectations, and it's hoped the festival will become an annual event. The idea stemmed from the organisers of the Glengarry Community Market, who decided they wanted to celebrate the onset of winter.
We decided that we wanted to do something. We weren't quite sure at that stage what shape it was going to take, and then we sort of developed the idea and have been working on it since then.
Who have we got here? Performances, food, that sort of thing?
We've got a whole range of people, lots of community people, which is fantastic. Some of the performers are residents or connected with Glengarry. We've also got a Pacific Island group coming to do some performance, a hip hop group, and a medieval sword fighting demonstration later on tonight as well.
And you're working with a zero budget?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep, we've got no funding for this. The church has lent us the venue. We've had a great community response, people coming, and the musicians are all playing for love, and getting involved and all helped by volunteers, so it's fantastic.
An action-packed fundraiser that saw skids, jumps and speed raising money was held near Invercargill at the weekend. The Southland Motorcycle Club held a fundraiser at the Sandpit in Otatara yesterday. 65 riders rode a range of courses, including a mini track for those under the age of 8, and older riders rode the main track with jumps. Club Treasurer Raywin Andrews says the event raised around $1,000 for the Westpac Chopper Appeal, with all proceeds going to the Lakes District Air Rescue Trust. The club is hoping to make it an annual fundraising event. And that's it from news. Coming up in sport, former All Black Frank Bunce on the first hat out for the All Blacks for 2013. From the news team, good night.